Pragmatic, empowering shipbuilders with data-driven solutions. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Pragmatic Data-Driven Shipbuilding podcast series. In this series, we'll cover maritime projects, the challenges, solutions, and technologies involved, and how to complete these projects as efficiently and cost-effectively as possible. The first big topic we're going to cover over the next few podcasts is retrofit projects, and we'll do that together with two great experts from C-Job Nikolayev from the Ukraine. I am Martin Brink from Catmatic, a leading solution provider for 3D ship design and information management solutions. And joining me today are Oleksandr Zherebetskyi and Vitalii Vyshnevskyi from C-Job Nikolayev. They are part of C-Job Naval Architects, a company that has over 200 engineers in 6 countries. Key markets for them are offshore, dredging, ferries, cruise vessels, mega yachts, workboats. So they come with a strong maritime design pedigree. So gents, welcome to the first podcast in our data-driven shipbuilding series. I'm really excited to chat with you about retrofits and to learn from your experience in this field. Can I maybe ask that you just introduce yourselves to the audience and tell us a bit about what you do at C-Job?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having us. It's nice to be here today. And I'm Vitalii Vyshnevskyi, project leader at C-Job Nikolayev, and in the hull department. And I've been working at C-Job since it was established in Nikolayev. It's 7 years already, and in engineering I already have 11 years of experience and 10 years in Catmatic soft experience.
Okay, so you know our software. That is good.
Yeah. And for now, my daily routine is like coordination with the team, communication with the client, quality control, and also planning and estimation. So something like that.
Hello, Martin. Thank you for such nice welcoming of us. My name is Oleksandr Zherebetskyi, and I'm also the project leader in C-Job Nikolayev. I've been working for about 6.5 years, and my position now is project coordinator in the system departments. So basically my routine is quite similar to Vitalii, internal coordination of the team, external communication with the client.
Okay, great. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about retrofitting. So can you tell the audience a bit about C-Job's experience in this field?
Yeah, currently here at C-Job Nikolayev, the company is 7 years on the market. So we've done about 20 retrofit projects, something like this, starting with the small tugs and continuing with the big cruise vessels. So plenty of projects.
Yeah, right. And all of it were done with Catmatic or with its help.
And tell me, have you kind of noticed any trends in maritime retrofitting in recent years? And what would you say are kind of the key motivators for companies to undertake retrofit projects?
I would say that the first one is regulations that are pushing to make updates. Also, governments are pushing to the low carbon for their contemporary ships, and IMO regulations also. And the bonuses to this is going extending vessel life plan and fuel efficiency. So that's the main points.
Retrofitting trends increasingly very strong last days, and a lot of companies tries to improve and modernize their equipment, engines, and hull structures to meet the latest IMO regulations.
Okay, right. So there are a bunch of good reasons. Tell me a little bit about the process that you usually use. I mean, what steps do you usually go through in a typical retrofitting project?
The first step, it's for retrofitting, usually this is 3D scanning, laser scanning. This is the first thing that we need to investigate what's need to be modified in the vessel and how we can solve this.
According to the statistics of the C-Job Nikolayev, the most common types are exhaust system modification and ballast water system treatment system modification.
Do you almost always do a laser scanning on these retrofit projects? And is the reason for that the 3D models are not up to date, or why do you do the laser scanning so often?
Yeah, I would say lately almost all retrofitting project involves this laser scanning, because you need to adjust the new construction to the existing one quite precisely, and this allows you to do that with very nice accuracy, because in your computer in front of you you can see the existing construction and the new one, and you understand how you should adjust it, how many access you need additionally to your plates, for example. So it's very, very convenient and handy for all engineers.
Yeah, and also I would like to add that every project we are working on is completely unique. That's why 3D scanning is important, to see the full picture. And to save time for us, for the clients, sometimes, very often, the team goes on the ship while it's on its way to the yard and taking the 3D scanning on the ship's way.
Okay, right, and then of course, next steps then 3D modeling and designing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Implementing 3D point clouds into the model, and then continue with the planning and the modernization of the model.
Okay, great. All right, guys, let's maybe take this to a practical level. I want to ask you to give me an example maybe of a retrofit project that you've worked on recently. Hopefully you've got one for me. And we can maybe just see what was the scope of the job. Why was this an interesting case? Were there any big decisions that you had to make on the project? Anything else that you think that our audience would find interesting?
Yeah. So latest project that we do, retrofitting, it was a really huge cruise ship. And our main task was to modernize the equipment inside this engine room. And as is a cruise ship, you can imagine this is a very huge ship. So we need to make this modification from the bottom up to the funnel. It's like 40 meters, and it's like 15 building story. And we have to change equipment, adjust old construction with the new one through this area. So this is really massive scope of work. And for sure, here will be a big help of 3D scanning. So we scan all this area, put in our computers, and just start engineering.
Yeah, don't forget to put a man into the model to see the scale of the real situation, because it's very often that people are increasing the model very close. Okay, I have lots of space, but when we have a man nearby, we see that it's not the reality. And talking about the exhaust system of the modification of this case, yeah, we need to we had to change the entire equipment, economizers, SCR reactors, silencers, and sometimes, yeah, like on these projects, we need to cut out everything in this area. Then after modernization, it should be placed back. But very often, even if the system after recalculation remains with the same diameters, it cannot be placed in the same way. So that's why we need to remodel to have it implemented without any collision into the new arrangement of the same compartment.
And also, Oleksandr mentioned it but quite fluently, probably nobody noticed that, but did you know that sometimes engineers run the laser scanning while the vessel on its way to the yard?
Why do you need to do that though?
It's time saving. It's very useful, and it's very cost efficient for all sides. We can start make plans what we need to modernize, what we should to cut before vessel arrive to the yard, and actually this work will start. So we save a lot of time in that case.
Okay, and I can only assume that you need to do that kind of work in calm seas. So you can't have rough seas for laser scanning.
Yeah, we know on the big waves it's quite challenging because every salesman on his own room fix everything, even books, whatever stuff, cups, etc. So 3D scanning in such conditions also could be not possible.
Yeah, well, that sounds like an absolutely massive laser scanning project. That you said like it was the size of a 15-story building. Did I hear you right?
Yeah, indeed.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the kind of teamwork that's required on this kind of project. So I'm just assuming that there were lots of different people involved from your side in different departments and so on. How important is communication and coordination between teams? And for example, how do you get that to work?
Oh, it's a really good question because for such big projects, it could be up to 15 people in one team. So, and if we're talking about here several departments, like I work with a house structure, Oleksandr work with piping and systems, and both teams have a lot of engineers which work on their areas, and they need to communicate with each other quite a lot of time during this work. And here, very important to have good communication and be on track every day. Do not miss something because one mistake from one side could cause cascade of others' mistakes. So, for example, if they update something, we need to know about this immediately because we can continue work with like all picture, but it's already changed. So it's very important.
Yeah, I would like to add that communication is essential part of dealing with such big projects. It's very important also to be in contact with people being on site and people who are sitting in the offices, because sometimes when you hear engineer, it's like most common that you're sitting on the office all your life, but no, it's not the only part. The communication with our team on site is very important, to not lose any details, to always stay in touch with what is going on the yard. And as Vitalii mentioned, separate several departments working on this project, and it's like a big family in one room. Everything is updating, everything is moving. It can be arguing scandals, but the project is moving on. It has to be on the deadlines and be done with a good quality.
Yeah, well, I assume that the tools that you use, of course, are very important in this case as well to help you to communicate effectively.
That's also the very important stuff. When we do planning, when we do scheduling, of course, we took the ideal situation, and life is not ideal, but we need to know how much time it will take to make this or that modification. And in C-Job, we are working in a different softwares, but from the beginning of the company working, we had plenty of projects done in Cadmatic. And I would say that with Cadmatic, it's easy for us to have this understanding of the work, how quick we can done it, how many people should be involved in this type or that type modification, and that's the really important for us.
And this soft very friendly to the users, and it's allow also to work with students, because sometimes we have in our teams young generation, and when we have such friendly tools, we can teach them very fast, and they can get into project already and give us some help.
Okay, so do you? I mean, how commonly do you have students assist on projects? And I understand the point that you're making about Cadmatic being user friendly and easy to learn. Thanks for the compliment, by the way. But do you how often do you do this kind of thing?
We can really compare with the different softwares, and that's the really nice stuff. And I would say when the new people come in, they have in our companies they have a training in the Cadmatic, because that's a very easy going into the system, going into the operation of the 3D program. And yeah, projects are very different, starting from the 3-person and going to the 15. And it's very nice to have, we're trying to have on every project at least one students, one young person, because they bring us the fresh ideas, the new vision of how it's done. Because sometimes when you stick to the plan and you're working for the 6-10 years with the same vision, and then the young guy comes and I can do like this one, and you, okay, it may work. I've never seen something like this, but maybe it will work. So it's very nice to have.
Okay, well, that's great that you bring these young people in, and you know, as you say, they can bring some fresh ideas. But obviously, the learning experience for them is absolutely invaluable to be working alongside industry experts. You alluded to it a little bit earlier, Oleksandr, that you know, things don't always go as planned. So, what challenges did you face on this massive cruise ship project? And maybe tell us a little bit about how you overcame those challenges.
Yeah, so mostly challenges for us, it's time pressure. This is, I think, the most common one, because as we already talked here, it's always complicated project with a lot of involved parts. So, for example, it could be a simple delay of some equipment, or we still didn't get the confirmation for that equipment. And when we already make some adjustments, we're ready to release product information, or probably we already did that, and we got information that something changed, and we have to redo this everything again. And for sure, like vessel still in the dock, and it's always money. We need to release vessel from the dock as fast as possible. So that is why when we get some changes, it's always challenges to make it faster, but to save the same high quality.
Yeah, from my side to add, the most challenges are basic documentation, changes that appeared during the implementation of the systems of the hull into the model, client changes. Client can have a new vision during the project. It happens, yeah. Also, time pressure and communication between the people.
Time pressure, I'm aware, is a big challenge that everybody faces on most shipbuilding projects, and then these retrofits, of course, especially as well, because you're taking a ship out of operation, and every day is a day that the ship is not in operation and making money for its ship owner, right? So then that kind of change management becomes really key thing. What would you say are like the biggest lessons that you learned from this project? And maybe what advice would you give some other design engineering companies or naval architects that are starting to work on retrofit projects? I mean, are there any common mistakes that one should avoid? Sorry, a very long question, but I think you got that.
Yeah, we will try to structurize in the answer. I think that very important to be flexible for the changes, flexible for the updates, to stay in touch closely with everyone, starting with the engineer, on every department, and going to the client and to the management, because with such such important, such big cards, we cannot miss any details because it will be a big impact on the project. And because if one small detail is changing, it has an influence on the quite a lot of documentation, quite a lot of processes. So staying flexible, quick reaction to the changes, schedule, to be up to date to the schedule, to not lose the deadlines, and communication with clients and engineers. I would say these are important ones.
Yeah, you just must deal with those challenges and learn as you go. It's quite difficult to predict everything that can go wrong during the project. So you just need to be ready for this and accept some risks and always try to make plans how to solve any issues that appear on your way.
Yes, and of course, I mean, being very experienced helps, right? I mean, as in anything, the more projects you do, the bigger projects you do, it kind of prepares you for the future.
Yeah, it's always a challenge. I can bring some example. What's a small change? Which cascade of changes for us?
Sure.
Yeah. So, for example, we make some not big bracket, and it appears. So we release already all documentation, and it appears that it should be changed. So, or equipment was changed, or in basic stage was recalculated, and it appears that it needs to be reinforced. Yeah. And what we must do in that case? So, firstly, we change the model, but thanks to Cadmatic, it could be done pretty fast. Next thing, we update drawing. Then we need to update assembly, release contours, then update nesting, update several reports. And all these stages require some communication to make it right, because you need to distribute this kind of work between your team, because it could be several buckets in several areas. It involves several drawings, and this, when these changes become like multiple, it's take quite a lot of time to update this. And in this case, a client also understands this risk, and we always communicate with each other and make new plans, move a bit schedule to right. So we do our best to provide client with these changes as fast as we can, but to save at the same time high quality, to avoid some additional work in metal already.
And speaking about the changes, the challenges, and the mistakes, mistakes happened, and mistakes happen. And when they say that when you didn't succeed in something, you should blame just yourself only in this. But I think that in our case, it's not applicable, because every time we are doing something unique, and some points cannot be seen from the very beginning, and the issues appeared in the project stage, while it's ongoing, and that's why it can be done only by starting, implementing, doing, see the stuff that appeared and going on.
Right. Well, thanks, Oleksandr and Vitalii, for a very interesting and insightful discussion and sharing your knowledge with the listeners. I think this was a great start to the series on retrofits. I've learned a lot in this discussion, and I'm sure our listeners have too. I think we can see that retrofit projects are very complex, but that with the right team, the right processes, the right tools and skill sets, you can complete them successfully. And I want to also thank our listeners for tuning in, and look forward to joining you in our next discussions when we'll delve deeper into these retrofit projects. So, Oleksandr, Vitalii, I'm going to give you the last words. Any last thoughts before we close up?
Yes, thank you for a warm welcoming. I think that we for sure have some special stories in our hands for the new episodes. Yeah, and that's it. It was nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and see you in next episode.
Yes, stay tuned for the next podcast in our data-driven shipbuilding series.